Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Ibra, Rebic, il tiro,
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host, Ollie Fisher, joined once again by the permanent fixture, Anthony Torgrud.
That's me. I'm wearing blue today. The new third kit came in, got Tonali on the back. Excited about that. Story to come with the kit situation as well. But no Madison, and we have a different name man, Maxi.
What's up? I'm wearing my amateur league shirt. I just came from a game.
Yeah, Maxi just won the title. Out in,
we won the title tonight.
Did you?
Yeah.
What, 11 aside?
No, 7 aside.
That's not bad. That's good. Well done. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulate Maxi in the comments, I suppose. I'm wearing
Thank
just...
you. We're
also can't see any. It's 2010.
we're actually undefeated. Invincibles.
Wow.
How many games?
6 wins out of 6 games.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I think you'd have lost the 7th. But yeah, boys, we've got a lot to talk about. Do you want to start with the shirt thing? Because it is quite interesting. I'm scared I'll forget.
Yeah. So I ordered, obviously, this Tonali shirt that I'm wearing. I ordered it the moment I could. I mean, we all knew it was getting announced. We talked about it for a while. So I was on my phone, just kind of doing this, refreshing the Milan shop until Tonali's name appeared as purchasable. And as soon as it was, bought it, sent it to me. Said it was going to get here on Monday, and it did. And so my doorbell rang. I open it up, see the package on the side, grab it, and another package fell behind it. And I was like, oh, there's another package. Weird. And it didn't have like a label on it. It was just another one. I thought, well, that's strange. So I come up to my room, open this one, see it's mine. I'm like, awesome. Open the other one, and it's another Milan shirt. It's this year's home kit. Also had Tonali on the back, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Because for those of you who don't know, about a month ago, I ordered AirPods, and they shipped me 4 of them. So I've been having some great luck with shipping lately. But so I posted about it on Twitter. People thought I was lying, of course, because that's just weird luck. But I proved it. I showed my receipt. I only bought the one. And then on the tag that was on the shirt, it had my name on it. And on the other one, it had another name. It said Hernandez M. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not Hernandez M, so this isn't mine. And then
I said it might be Teo's dad. And he
right, yeah.
Like that wasn't his son's.
Yeah, and it was a different size as well, but it was a size up. So like if I wanted to wear it, it would just be a little baggy. But I was pretty excited, going to keep it. Posted about that, and then had a little, moral dilemma that night. And I was like, you know what, I should at least try to get this to the guy. So I emailed Milan, said, hey, this is the situation. I got it, blah, blah, blah. And then last night, the next day, I'm on Twitter. Someone replies to me, and I recognize the name in his username, his Twitter @ and it was Mike Hers FC. And I was like, M. Hernandez. I'm like, this is really weird. So, I just click on his profile. I see he follows me, and I go to his media and see he also posted a screenshot of ordering the jersey roughly the exact same time I posted mine, except his was a home shirt. I thought, this is really weird. So I DM him, and I'm like, yo, I think I have your Tonali shirt. And he's like, what are you talking about? Obviously, because that's a weird thing to DM a stranger. And I was like, this is a situation. I sent him.
Did you actually just put, I think I've got your shirt?
Yeah, like
threatened by that as well.
Now get me what I want.
Yeah, here, I'll pull it up.
It? What?
Yeah, my first message to him just said, yo, I think I have your Tonali shirt. And he said, what? So I said, 1 second. I sent him the link to the thread because I was logging this whole situation. And he's like, I was wondering why I haven't received it yet. I won't say where, but he said his location. I was like, no, I'm in Arizona. I was like, but did you get an order number or something? Because I had an order number I found. And so he gave it to me, and sure enough, it matched up exactly. It was the exact order number. So I'm going to send it out tomorrow. I have it in my closet right now. It's hanging up. Obviously, I opened it, but it's not worn. Still has the tags on it. And then this morning, I woke up to an update that hasn't been put on Twitter yet. But Milan did email me back finally. And they're like, thanks for your email. Thanks for letting us know the situation. We're looking into this matter. We kindly ask you to wait for our update, and your loyalty will be rewarded. So who knows what's going to happen there. But I emailed them again and was like, actually, I found the guy. I'm going to send him the shirt. Whatever you guys want me to do, let me know. But we agreed that I'll mail it out on Thursday, meaning tomorrow. So hopefully they get back to me.
Imagine if they're like, oh, we sent Mike a new shirt and we also sent you a signed shirt to say thanks for being so honest.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be awesome if that
Everybody's
happens.
happy then, aren't they?
I sent them the link to the Twitter thread in case they want to retweet it or something, make us go viral. But I don't expect anything to come from it. It's just a good old heartfelt story.
Deed.
So
good deed. Your conscience is very
Get
clear.
Some
at
good
the
karma.
Definitely. So we've got a game tomorrow. It doesn't feel like it's been a normal preseason. When it's normal preseason, it's like 3 months from our last league game to first game. But a combination of the fact that we're in the second round of the Europa League qualifiers and COVID basically means that 47 days after we ended the season against Cagliari, we play in Dublin against, I guess it's the team that put pineapple on their pizzas, according to Paddy Power at least. If you haven't seen that, check out our Twitter feed. Paddy Power have decided, who are, just to clarify, bookmakers, a UK-based bookmaker, and they're known for like publicity stunts and things. They've basically made some massive banners telling us to go back to our sexy cars and stuff like that. So yeah, that's quite funny. It's quite funny. But they're going to get slapped for this,
Yeah,
Shamrock
I would
Rovers.
hope so. I would hope they get slapped regardless of the sign.
Yeah. So what I will do, I don't really expect either of you two lads, and this is no disrespect to Shamrock Rovers, but I don't expect you two lads to have watched much League of Ireland. But because I wrote the preview, because I did the preview, I'll just reel off a few things so our listeners at least feel a bit informed. So basically, we're going into this game. It's our first competitive game of the season. We've won 4 friendlies. We played Novara, Monza, Vicenza, and Brescia. Won all 4 pretty convincingly. We scored at least 3 in all of those games, but we did concede in every game. But that's by the by. Shamrock Rovers are kind of in the middle of their season. Their league season actually ends at the end of October. But they've won 9 out of their first 11 league games and are currently top of the table by 8 points. They're coming into this game off the back of a 3-0 win against Cork City, who are also a pretty good team. I know instantly people will be thinking, yeah, but it's the League of Ireland, blah, blah, blah. A team that's won 9 out of 11 in the league are going to be pretty up for a game like this, It's probably going to be like one of the biggest games in their history, but come on to an interview that I did with a couple of Shamrock Rovers fans, including the guy who runs the Twitter, actually. He was nice enough to get back to us. So basically for them, they've got 2 internationals in Jack Byrne and Graham Burke, both play for Ireland. Jack Byrne's apparently free roaming playmaker. Burke is a bit more of an advanced playmaker. They've combined for 9 out of the 24 goals. So those are the 2 kind of men to look out for, I suppose. And then, yeah, for us, we've got Rebic missing because he's disqualified from Eintracht Frankfurt time a while ago. Leao in quarantine, we believe. And then there's Romagnoli, Conti, Musacchio, and is that it?
And Paqueta, but he was just left off.
Yeah, and
Kalu is missing as well. Not that that's really that big of a deal.
Rollback.
Yeah. So I understand that. So first of all, there was Kalulu left out, as you say. Roback was left out. Paqueta was left out. The idea is that in the Europa League, you can only name 20 players for a squad for a particular game, and that's just your overall squad. And then for your match day squad, so the players who were involved in the game, you can only name 18. So you start in 11 and 7 subs. So that means 2 of the players that travel to Dublin will just be there to sit in the stands. But obviously it's understandable. There could be an injury at the team dinner or something, which we'll come on to actually. That looks like a lively one. And yeah, so that's why they've left out some of the younger lads who will stay back and train. And obviously for Syria, you get more subs. So you expect them to feature in that Serie A opener on Monday against Bologna. So I spoke to a couple of Shamrock Rovers fans before the game just to try and sort of gauge what they're expecting from all of this. They said obviously they were thrilled with the draw. It's a bit of a shame that it's going to be behind closed doors. I didn't know this, but Shamrock Rovers have played Real Madrid and Juventus before in their history, so that's pretty good. They played Juve back in 2010-11 actually, and Juve only won 1-0 at home against them. Del Piero scored a late winner. So
yeah, but that was a different Juve.
It was, yeah, and they won the first leg 2-0, so it was 3-0 on aggregate. But yes, basically both of the guys, it was Shamrock Rovers Fan TV and a guy called Stephen who runs their Twitter account, have both predicted the game to be a draw after 90 minutes and for it to go to extra time. What you lads reckon?
Well, first off, Maxi's wandering around somewhere. Not sure what's going on there.
My computer's about to die. I have to get my charger.
This is cutting edge.
Yes, we're on the pinnacle.
So yeah, AJ, we'll start with you.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to go to extra time. I appreciate, where they're coming from and backing their boys, especially when they're in a good run of form like this. Absolutely, they're going to be up for it. This, like you said, this is going to be a big game in their history. And any team who's won 9 straight is going to want to take on the next big challenge. I mean, we remember when we were on that first tear under Gattuso's original season, and everyone was talking like, yeah, we're going to crush Arsenal. Like, we're taking it to them. This is what we're here for. And then we lost. And, it's going to be similar to that, except we're going to be the winning side this time around. And I don't think it's going to even be a close game. I'd be shocked if they get one. Unless they could expose Duarte, it'll be Gabia playing, correct? It'll be Gabia and Kier. Yeah, I think Kier's going to get the job done. Unless Donnarumma really relaxes. I mean, the only thing that might play into their favor is Donnarumma's not going to have enough tape to review how they play. Honestly, I mean,
that's a very, very niche thing to have an advantage on over a team. So the Stephen, the Twitter admin, kindly provided me with a predicted 11 for the match preview that I've done. They play a 5-4-1, so that instantly kind of looks, I suppose, a bit like a 3-4-1-1 when the players get forward, I suppose. But off the ball, it's a 5-4-1, which makes me think that in this particular game, perhaps it's how they play in the league, although their form doesn't suggest it. They're going to try frustrate us and stop us scoring for as long as possible and maybe try and nick one through a set piece. But Ibra's fit and playing. He missed the last 2 friendlies, which means he only had a bruised leg as well, so he was still doing individual work. So I think he's going to be well up for this, and he's going to try and hit the ground running. The big thing for us in this game, and I'm 5% worried, I think, again, this is going to sound so disrespectful, but I think the 4 teams that we played in pre-season are of a higher standard than what Shamrock are. I think they're probably equivalent of a 4th division English team. Yeah. And that might get some flames, whatever. But early goal. If we get an early goal, it's fine. It really is fine, because that invites them to come out and after us, and then that's when we should be able to expose them.
Then we hit the counter, and it's easy pickings from there.
Yeah, so
I completely agree. I think all of our preseason teams are at a higher caliber, and all of our lineups for those games are a lower caliber than what we're going to field for this. So it's going to be simple. I mean, I would put the teams that Zlatan was making easy work of in the MLS above Shamrock Rovers as well. So I think it's gonna. I don't want to say a battering, but if anyone's running away with it, it's certainly not them.
No. So as a prediction, I've gone 3-0 to us, and I feel like that was somewhere a compromise between what could be quite a banana skin difficult game and what could be, let's say, we're 3 or 4-0 up at half time. It could turn into a mauling.
I'll go 4-0.
Maxi?
Yeah, I go 3-0.
Yeah. It's a good run out. And as we've mentioned before, our league schedule means that we can negotiate these Europa League qualifiers. We need to win 3 games to get into the groups. We can negotiate these a little bit easier. Speaking of which, we've got Bologna on Monday night. So we'll welcome Rebic back for that. Leao's apparently not going to be available. Romagnoli's out until probably early October is when he'll come back. So we're looking at Donnarumma, probably Calabria. Conte will miss that, I would think. Kier and Gabbia again. Looking forward to see Gabbia in the early stages of the season, because he again looks to have bulked out massively in that short pre-season that we had. I mean, he looks like a real unit on those photos. And then Teo Hernandez. I won't be surprised if we saw like Laxalt play tomorrow, and it turns out that Sky have been wrong about our lineup and we actually just rotate massively. But anyway, Kessier Benacer, Samu Castillejo. Tonali will probably be up to match fitness a bit more then, as will Brahim Diaz. But we'll have Çalhanoğlu, Ibra, Rebic back. Because we weren't recalled before that game, do you think we'll make light work of Bologna too? I mean, we did beat them 5-1 towards the end of last season.
Yeah, I mean, if we beat Rovers, like we all think we will, it's just a continuation of the form that we started, post-COVID. So until someone stops us, I don't see why we should assume anyone's going to give us trouble. I know that's a cocky thing to say, but
the derby.
Yeah, I'd say week 4 against Inter. That's when we could really start thinking about, okay, where is this team really at? But for now, I think we should be just blowing through these teams if we're keeping that form. If we get stopped, it's a different conversation. But until that happens, I'm high flying.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I do think we're gonna beat Bologna, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy, because I think they've improved over the summer or the off season. They've made some smart signings, and I think that they have some players who will grow a lot this year. I think that we will beat them, but I don't think it will be a blowout like last time.
Yeah, I think the circumstances the last time we played them certainly suggested that we were on a massive roll and they were kind of just petering out the season. They'd lost all hope of a Europa League spot by that point. Bologna are good. I mean, I nearly picked them. We'll come on to our Syria predictions for the season. I nearly picked them to be my surprise package. I think another year under Mihailovic will do them good. And I like the players that they have there. Orsolini could keep developing and knocking on the door for Italy. I don't expect it to be as straightforward, because when we have the first home game of the season, like last year it was Brescia at home and we won 1-0 thanks to a Çalhanoğlu header, and didn't really, we didn't pull up any trees with that performance. We never seemed to make that first home game easy, the one that we should win. So it might be by a goal. I'd take a 2-0. To be honest, I'd take a 1 or 2-0 clean sheet on to the next one. We just need to rack up 9 points from those first 3 games. That no matter how we do it, that's what we need to do. And then the derby is kind of like, that will be the big barometer. That'll be the big gauge of where we're at. But without getting too ahead of ourselves, I suppose, prediction for Bologna, I'm going to go with a 2-0.
I'm not going to say it's going to be a clean sheet. I think I'll go with a 2-1, 3-1 maybe. I just think we didn't keep a clean sheet in all of preseason, and we still don't have Romagnoli back. We're not full fitness for our back line, and this game is a significant step up from Rovers, even though it's still, a bottom tier team for Serie A. They brought in Musa Barrow from Atalanta, who's a young, talented winger, and I think he could do some damage if we're not careful. So, I think they'll get one on us, but it won't be anything damaging.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll win with 3-1.
Yeah, I'd like that. I mean, a 2-goal margin or to keep a clean sheet, any circumstance is fine. I just get really jittery about those first games of the season. You think lack of rhythm, but the only benefit for us with having Bologna, and then do we have Crotone away and then Spezia at home, is that we'll have Europa League games in amongst that to keep up our freshness, to keep up our match fitness. And hopefully, if we beat Shamrock Rovers, we've then got a home tie against either a Norwegian team or a Lithuanian team, I believe. So again, that's like a game where we can potentially rotate, keep things fresh, moving into that second game. And, we can manage things a lot better with the first 6 competitive games that we've been handed up until the derby. Depending how that playoff pans out, it could yet be Gareth Bale's Spurs. We don't know. But yeah, I'm feeling I'm feeling like there's no excuses this season for getting off to a slow start. We kept the continuity after winning 9 of our last 12 games last season. the fixture list has been kind to us on paper, and I know it's on paper, and I know people berate me for saying you've got to win those games, but on paper, it looks pretty good for us to go 9 out of 9, to get into the Europa League group stages, and then to just say to Conte, bring it on, and for Tonali to score the winner in the derby. So anyway, general league as a whole, we did our Syria predictions. If you haven't checked it out already, go onto the website and go onto the features page. You'll see it. SempreMilan writers predict the 2020-21 season. So did, I think it was like 7 categories maybe. We'll talk through each one and go around. Scudetto winners. So this one wasn't as straightforward. Every year for probably the past 6 years, I've said Juve and not even given it a second thought, because you'd be an idiot to back against Juventus regardless. Even last year under Sarri, I thought Sarri, with the job that he did at Chelsea, wasn't given enough credit, and he was going and inheriting a strong Juve team that had won 8 in a row. I've picked them to win it again. I've picked them to go 10 in a row. I'm semi-banking on them signing another striker. I honestly think if it's Dzeko or Suarez, it's not bad, because Dzeko will score goals, a good number of goals in a team that gives him better service than Roma. And Kulusevski is obviously going to be there as a full-time player. They've also got Dybala and Cristiano Ronaldo. Arthur Melo added to the midfield. Their spine's pretty scary. And I was apprehensive about Pirlo and his appointment there because of his lack of experience, as everybody's talked about. But I read parts of his thesis today that he did at the Italian coaching school. It sounds like he has a solid idea on how to play. You can't really go wrong with a group of players that are that talented, I'd back myself to have a good go at organising them. But I don't know. It might be another Conte. People looked at Conte's appointment at Juve as a bit of a risk, and he ended up building them into a bit of a dynasty that Allegri then continued and got a lot of the credit for. So I don't want him to do well, but if it means that Inter don't win the league, then I'm all for Juve picking up where they left off.
I mean, I wrote that Inter's going to win. I think Inter takes it. For a lot of the reasons you just said that Juve's going to continue, I think that's why they won't. I don't think the players that are coming in, albeit if Suarez comes in, then they're going to win it. But if it's Edin Dzeko or someone else, I don't think it's a big improvement. And yeah, every former player knows how to play football. That's why they could all become coaches right away. I don't think that's a secret. But it's a lot more difficult to actually be a manager when you have a team to manage, especially one full of superstars like Cristiano Ronaldo, who, if he doesn't like what the boss is saying, then he's going to start a coup and you lose the dressing room like we saw with Sarri. It's just how it works. And I don't know, a rookie manager is always a big risk. We've seen it year after year. I think it's going to hurt them more than it's going to help them. And we know what Conte can do given time. So give him a second season. He was only 1 point off the title last year. I mean, you could argue that Juve let off the gas because they clinched it a few weeks early, and that's absolutely true. But bottom line, Inter were 1 point off the title last season. Now you have continuity with a world-class coach in Conte. They're making some good changes. Hakimi is the fullback they just brought in. Fantastic player from Dortmund, or technically Madrid, but played at Dortmund last season. And I think they're going to build off that. And if they just need 1 more point to win a title, I absolutely see them securing 1 more point.
Maxi, you can't remember who you picked.
Yeah, I picked Juventus as well. I think that the difference in the quality of the squads that Juventus have and the rest of the league is much bigger than people. I don't know how to say it, but people will recognize. I think that Juventus are far ahead of everyone else, and I do think that that Inter will be even better this season because as both you guys said it, they got in continuity. They made some smart signings, and yeah. But I think that I don't know. I've tweeted this when Pirlo was appointed that I think that he will be a success. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling that I have. I've seen some of his past managers like Conte and Ancelotti praise him even as a player, how he thought as a manager back then. And as you said, Oliver, of course it's a different thing to speak about it and stuff like that than to actually manage a team. But I read his thesis today as well, and I was impressed by it, and I think that he will become a really good manager for Juventus.
I can see them giving him 5 years. You know, I really can see them, unless it goes disastrously, and let's say they finish 8th or something this season and he's lost the dressing room and stuff. I can really see them saying, look, we've given you a core of players that are very talented to work with here. It's not ideal for us to not win the league this year, but we need to see progress, and we need to build something again after a pretty dour year under Sarri. Like, the football wasn't particularly great, but they got the job done. That's the thing about Juve, is even when they weren't good last season, they were off the boil, they still got it done. You know,
exactly.
they still got it done. And you're right, they slackened off. They essentially won the league, in my opinion, by about 8 points, but they just sacked it off at the end for obvious reasons, with Champions League commitments and stuff. Inter, he's a good signing. I think his price tag's big, though. You know, I don't know if there's many fullbacks in the world or wing backs that I can genuinely say are worth. What are they going to pay? About 50 mil in total?
Yeah, there's none worth that.
I think all in all, it's 65.
There's 65.
If you count in salaries and everything.
Oh.
All in investment.
Yeah.
And Teo's is meant to be like what 30.
30,
yeah, 20 plus 5 years at 2.5. I don't know. That might be okay. Big thing if Lautaro goes, and the rumor is that they're going to replace him with like Olivier Giroud. That doesn't strike me as an upgrade, I'll be totally honest. I think Lautaro still goes, you know. I've got this feeling that
I think he stays.
Goes.
I thought Romano said that Barca's not really interested, like people think.
Real Madrid are meant to be the team now.
Oh.
I don't know, his agent said he'll stay, but you never know. You just never know. I think Inter need to sell. Like, they've gone from having Kumbula and Tonali locked up to haggling for Vidal on a free.
Well, and they're
trying to get rid of Godin and they're refusing to pay off his contract so he can join Cagliari. They're trying to sell Brozovic basically to replace him with Vidal, and they signed Sensi on a permanent deal. Whatever. Kolarov.
It was Perisic. Kolarov. Was he just on loan to Barca or Bayern? I mean,
Bayern. Yeah, they didn't use their buy option.
Wow.
So, they tried to negotiate it lower than the buyout, but Inter wouldn't have it.
So anyway, we'll move on. So we'll go into the top 6 now, and in this we can talk a bit about Milan as well. So I went with Inter in 2nd, Lazio in 3rd, Atalanta in 4th, and then I went Milan in 5th and Napoli in 6th. Now, I put a little disclaimer saying that signings could change this. Now, I've said this on the podcast before. A lot of our fans are getting very carried away, understandably so. Tonali, good signing. Brahim Diaz, exciting. We haven't signed anyone for the starting 11 yet. Our starting 11 against Bologna is going to be exactly the same as the one that we ended last season with. So why people all of a sudden expect a big change and for us to make that jump into the top 4 when we were so far off over the entirety of last season, I think is a little bit presumptuous. I understand the optimism. We ended last season very, very well. We've got to pick it up and continue. If we drop points in any of those first 3 games, it'll be same old, same old. I just hope that fans stick by everything and the pressure doesn't become too much, you know. I've got that at the moment. I think if we had a right winger or we had a right back or we had another quality centre-back, any of those 3 things, so we've got depth, we've got genuine depth and maybe another player for the starting 11 that just bumps us up. And then, you don't know, Lazio or Atalanta could have a down year. Then we get 4th spot. I think that's probably the best that we can hope for at the moment. We're still behind 3 or 4 teams. I still judge us to be behind Lazio and Atalanta as things stand at the moment. They're a few years ahead in their project. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm being cautiously optimistic. like I said, window shuts October 5th. We might yet get a couple of late deals. If Paqueta goes, we'll come on to that towards the end, but if Paqueta goes, that gives us a bit more liquidity to perhaps be able to go out and secure Chiesa or to secure Milinkovic. And we probably have a bit of cash in the bank anyway from Suso's sale and stuff like that. So we'll see. But those are my top 6. AJ?
I'll be honest, I don't necessarily remember exactly what I put my order for top 6, but I know I
Do you want me
had.
to tell you?
Yeah, that'd be best.
Yeah, so you went into top, Juve, us in 3rd, Atalanta, Napoli, and Roma.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to mess up. I'm basing it off of, like you said, not to do, but the way everyone ended the season last year. We're still high flying because now we know what these players can do, and if they continue that mentality, which preseason has shown us, we have not let up yet. So if we can continue that, then we're going to continue to go on a tear. And the other clubs in the league now are taking us seriously because they saw what we did. They're not thinking this is the world's weakest Milan. We could run over them. And that's what's given all these small clubs confidence to do it, is they know we've been, like a wounded puppy, but we're not anymore. And I think now they're going to be sitting back a bit more, and we're just going to start battering people. We might not be doing, 5 goals a game like we were in last season, but I still think we're going to come out on top. And in most of the decisive games that we were dropping points in last season, I don't think it's enough to win us a title. We're definitely not getting above Juve, and I don't think we're going to match Inter yet. But I do think we're going to get in there, and I just haven't been impressed with any of the other big 6, in Roma or Napoli. And Atalanta, obviously, they'll get the job done, but the way they ended last season, they were dropping off. And Lazio hard dropped off. That's why I didn't even put them in my top 6. I think they're going to be obscure this season. But actually, Roma keeps selling people, so maybe swap Lazio and Roma. I don't know yet. We'll see. Like you said, things could change depending on signings. If we bring in a Chiesa or Milinkovic or Thauvin from Marseille, if we bring in one of those players, then it's going to help us a lot. So we'll see what happens. But I think we're going to secure it this year. I think this is the season.
Maxi?
Yeah. As I said, I put Juventus first and Inter second, and then I put Atalanta in 3rd. And I do think that they will continue to impress. I don't think it's sustainable for them to continue like they did last season. I don't think they will score as much, but I do think they will get the points and get the wins. They've also done some smart business this summer. And then I put Milan 4th, Lazio 5th, and Napoli 6th. And I put Milan 4th due to the big thing that I saw last season, or how we ended last season, was that we finally have that mentality to don't get knocked down when the going gets tough, and we really clicked as a team. So I think that those are 2 great signs for the future, and that mentality is something that I've not seen in Milan for a very long time. And that is the main exclamation point as to why I think that we will make it this year, because we know what it takes and we don't give up now. Even if we concede 2 goals, we keep on fighting and get the draw if that's what we can get. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I admire the optimism. I must say, like, as a side note to my predictions, I'm very excited about this season because of the way that we ended last season. I think you're right. We either battered teams from the start. We did that quite a lot in those last 12 games. We really went at teams from the start. Or if we went a goal down or 2 goals like we did against Juve and we did against Spal, and we didn't try and edge our way back into those games. We just said we're going to come straight back at you. And the Juve prime example, that 2 goals down after 55 minutes, you're thinking, here we go again. Scored 4 in 18 minutes or something, was it? Mm-hmm. And bang, one of the most memorable victories in recent times. So I'm very excited. I'm just trying to be cautious. I mean, I nearly made a controversial change just for this podcast to show how it can change based on signings that can happen, and I nearly put Roma up in there 4th or 5th, because if they're getting rid of Dzeko, who's good goal scorer but old now, replacing him with Milik. They've sold Under for a big fee, so you think they'll get in another winger. But then they're also signing Marash Kumbula from Hellas Verona, which is a good signing. And they're looking at also signing Chris Smalling still from Manchester United. Zaniolo, though, him being out for the season is too big for them, I'm afraid. Too big. And yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I really feel like there are 6 quality teams. Would it surprise me if Atalanta won the league? Probably not that much. Would it surprise me if they finished 6th? No, because I don't think it's massively sustainable, and I've been proven wrong on that before. But yeah. Right, so next, relegated teams. So this is a tough one to call. I'm not as well versed on what's going on at teams at the bottom end of the table, the business that they've done, etc. But I've gone with a couple of educated guesses and one that I'm feeling pretty good about. I've gone with Spezia and Crotone. Obviously, both got promoted from Serie B last season. Teams tend to find it quite difficult to adjust. There's normally 2 out of 3 that go back down, and especially with COVID and stuff. Spezia are making a couple of good moves. I have seen them pop up on my Twitter feed a couple of times. But the third team I've gone with is Genoa. Genoa kind of, they're a weird one. They always seem to find a way to wriggle out of the danger that they put themselves in due to a number of horrendous decisions at management level. They're like the Hamburg, if you know German football, they're like the Hamburg of Italy. They always found a way despite being so badly run. I've just got a feeling this year's the year that catches up with them. I don't know why, but yeah, I think perhaps before they could have counted on their home form against teams around them to see them up. But, with the season starting behind closed doors and that being a real leveller, I think Genoa's squad might be exposed for where it's at. So those are the 3 that I've gone with: Spezia, Crotone, and Genoa.
I believe I actually had the exact same as you for the same reasons. So, yeah, just repeat that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had Spezia, Crotone, and Benevento, but I thought really hard because I think that Spezia might be a surprise, especially if they manage to get Lucien Nagome from Inter.
Oh yeah, saw that.
So I think that. Those 3 will be relegated, but I don't know. Genoa is like a club with 9 lives. They always get by. But I also thought that this year might be the year.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call. There's a few that are in that group. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but one of it was Rohit picked Udinese, and I actually think that's a decent shout. If they lose DePaul, Seko Fofana's gone, they might be in bother. They might be in trouble if they don't start the season well. Coppa Italia winners, obviously this is a real lottery pick. But I look at the bracket and I don't really make much of it. If you want to win the competition, you're going to have to beat a couple of the top teams to get there. The same sort of 4 teams were picked among our writers. I went with Lazio. I just figure it's time for them to win it again. They seem to kind of focus on that competition. They have pride in the Coppa Italia. They're going to go big to win a domestic trophy because the Scudetto's probably out of range for them. The Champions League, they might get knocked out in the groups and they'll find, bang, the cup's the only chance of winning a trophy. If you picked Milan, and I think you did, AJ, we'll come on to that.
I did not.
Did you not?
No.
Did you, Maxi?
No.
You picked Atalanta to win the cup. I like that. That's a good shout.
I think this is the year they win a domestic title, and I think it's going to be the Coppa Italia.
Yeah, that's actually who I picked, was Atalanta, for same reason. I mean, they're pushing hard for some silverware. They have been the last few seasons, and like you said, I think the Scudetto is just a little too far out of reach for them, and the Champions League definitely is. Even though they had a great run this last season, those just aren't realistic for them. But this is. I know you don't make much of the bracket, but I look at it and I see Milan, Inter, and Juventus on one side of the bracket, and Napoli and Atalanta on the other side. Atalanta have the easiest run. I mean, looking at who they could get matched up with first, going to be a real simple team for them. I can't remember who. But when I was looking at it, making this prediction, I was like, okay, they have the easiest run. They have one big team before they get into the final. And I think they could beat them. I mean, they beat everyone in the top 6 last season at least once. So why can't they do it again this season when it counts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows how Pirlo is going to react in a cup situation? You know, he doesn't have the experience, so it's a big question mark for him.
That would be his first major final potentially, but even then he'd have to get past Inter or
well,
Milan.
He's going to have the Super Cup, right?
Oh yeah, of course he is. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, fair. So yeah, I wanted to pick Milan. I wanted to say that we'll do it, but even despite having good teams in the mid to late 2000s, we couldn't win the cup. We haven't won it since 2003. 17 years tells its own story. We got to the final a couple of occasions, but it wasn't happening against those Juve teams. And I think we'd have to play Inter and Juve. Be incredible to get there. But then we'd have a final against an Atalanta, a Napoli, Roma or Lazio. I think, might be wrong on that, one of those teams anyway. And it might just be a bridge too far. I don't know, just a gut feeling. I hope we do it though. Surprise package. So this isn't a player, but a team. This was the one that I was most confident about picking. And it might not even be a surprise package. I'm not confident about it. But Sassuolo, you know, they kind of flew under the radar last season. But God, they played some good football last season. Caputo, incredible striker. Obviously, Berardi. They're just loaded with young talent. Jeremy Boga looks like staying now as well. They're a great team. And De Zerbi's a fantastic manager. Apparently, this is an interesting one. Ranić wanted De Zerbi to take over after his first year as head coach. He was the coach from Italy that he picked to take over so he could move to just being director at Milan. So that says a lot. He's clearly well thought of. And we knew it anyway. There was some people saying we should have picked him over Gianpaolo, and I agree with that, to be honest. So yeah, Sassuolo, feeling pretty confident about that one. I think they're going to be up there. Probably be like Hellas Verona last season. You know, nagging for that last Europa League spot for quite a while.
Yeah, I thought long and hard about having Sassuolo as my pick as well for all those same reasons. What swayed me against it was it wouldn't be a surprise, I think. They've been pretty steady. I mean, they even achieved Europa League football at one point. You know, since they made Serie A in the, I believe it was 13-14 was their first season in Serie A. They've never gone down. They've been very steady. They've had great players. All the ones you mentioned, Berardi as well is a fantastic player who's still around. And I think they're going to be up there for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were, and that's why I went against them. Who I picked is a team that some are saying might go down, but I think Benevento is going to be the surprise of the season. I'm not saying they're going to get a Europa League spot. I think they'll be lucky to finish like 9th, but getting the top half of the table would be a big deal for a team like that. A team who came up and immediately went down their first season 2 years ago is now coming back with Pippo Inzaghi, who is known in Serie A as not a great coach. We saw what he did with Milan, but he's had experience now. He won the Serie B with this team. He
didn't just win it; he absolutely walked it.
Steamrolled the whole league. I mean, dominated. It was very clear and above that they were the champions a long time ago. But they've made reinforcements, and good reinforcements too. They brought in
Lapadula.
Everyone just blanked on me right now.
Kamil Glik has gone there, hasn't he?
Yeah, and Lapadula.
Poland international, Lapadula.
Big name striker. Why can't I think of? Big name striker just went.
Battery go there. Oh no, he might be going to Monza, which is quite funny. But while you look that up, a friend of mine who lives in Italy, he's a Milan season ticket holder, was saying about Benevento. They're perceived in Italy, and I didn't know this, but they're perceived in Italy as, do you remember when Wolves went up from the Championship?
Yes.
With 100 points, and everyone, because they had signed Ruben Neves, they signed Potter captain for the second tier.
Great players.
Everyone looked at Benevento's team and was like, that's far too good for the second division. So they were expected to walk that league. I'm thinking now they've had a couple of good additions. They maybe already had a team good enough for Syria. Couple of boosters, they'll be all right. That's why I've picked them to stay up. I think probably lower mid-table around the 14th, might. But I can also see why you think they might go down. You know, too many cooks can spoil the broth. If they had a good formula, then adding 4 new players to the starting 11 might not be the wisest move. But
So they might not have signed the striker I'm thinking of, who I still can't find for some reason. But they did sign Gianluca Caprari from Sampdoria, who's not a striker, but fantastic player in his own right. And like you said, Lapadula.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going back on my word a little bit here, because apparently I was thinking of the wrong team for whomever this mystery striker is that signed. He played for Chelsea, I want to say. Was it Samuel Eto'o? Did he go somewhere?
Yeah, Crotone.
Long time
He went to Crotone?
No, wait.
Crotone?
Who did you say?
Samuel Eto'o?
He retired ages ago, didn't he?
I thought you said Sanelato.
Yeah, he went to Crotone from our academy.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that. Because I could have sworn he was retired.
You can look it up. Maxi, you went with Bologna. Why?
Yeah. I think Bologna showed some very positive signs last season, and I think they have some players who can grow even further, like Tomiyasu, Mattias Svanberg, Skov Olsen, Orsolini, Dominguez. Yeah, so I think they have, and of course, Jurava and Barrow.
Yeah, Musa Barrow.
Yeah, so I think they have some great players and great young players who can take them far. And overall, I think Sinisa Mihailovic is a fantastic manager, and I kind of think that his warrior instincts in this leukemia battle and COVID battle, it must have some effect on the team. Like they really want to go to war for him, like he goes to war for them. So I think that they have a great composition together because of that.
So I found who I was looking for. Yes, it was Loic Remy, and it was Benevento, but he failed his medical. I didn't realize that. And so they called it off last month.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been so exciting.
That would have been quite fun. It just feel like that kind of signing, though, you know, like what Watford might make in the Premier League.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It got me excited. That's what I was thinking. Wow. So I'm a little bummed out, but, you know, if you fail your medical, like,
yeah,
what it is.
True.
It's not even the first medical he fails.
Yeah,
he failed one with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Right. Teams that will disappoint. This, again, was quite hard one, but I said basically that a lot of people... I feel like I might have got this wrong. I said that a lot of people are hyping up Fiorentina, and actually I don't think they are. Nobody's picked them in the top 6 that I saw.
Yes.
A lot of picking them to finish like 8th or 9th. So maybe that's wrong. But I remember last season they actually were in a relegation battle towards the end of the season. So a lot are expecting them to make that jump, I guess, back to being a solid side. I don't think they will. I think especially if they lose if they lose 2 of Milenkovic, Chiesa, and German Pesela, who is their captain, you know, regardless of his age, whatever, then I think they're going to be in trouble. I don't think, Kwame will be back after his ACL, so that's a big boost for them. They've got some continuity because Castrovia will be staying, Cutrone, obviously. It's not about Eric Pulgar's a good player as well. It's not a bad team on paper. I'm not inspired by them. I'm not inspired by Iacchini as a head coach. I can see them sort of loitering again, you know, especially considering how tough those top 8 teams are. I feel very confident in saying they'll finish below the likes of Sassuolo and maybe even Hellas Verona again.
Yeah, I don't think Camiso's really built anything special there. I think you could argue they've gotten worse since his arrival. So bullet dodged for us, but yeah, I'm not impressed by them at all. But I put my disappointment as Juventus simply because I think it's going to be their first season in a decade without any trophies. The one exception that might be the Super Cup, but even then, I just don't. I don't see Juventus pulling off anything this season. So to me, second place and crashing out of the Cup, Champions League, and Super Cup is going to be a disappointment for them. You know, anything less than a domestic double is a failure to them.
in theory, it's the 2019-20 Super Cup as well, so it wouldn't count as a trophy for 2020-21.
There you go.
So yeah, it would be a trophy this season. Maxi?
Yeah, I put Roma. You know, as you put in the top 6, I think it could change with some signings. Murash Kaumbala and Arek Milik is 2 great players to get in, but I don't know, man. Pedro, Mkhitaryan, I'm not convinced by them, and now they're looking to get De Chilio from Juventus.
Not inspiring, is it really?
No, definitely not. And Saniolo injured for a long time. So yeah, I don't think it will be a good season for Roma. At least not as the squad looks now.
The Roma's problem is their midfield, without a doubt. I mean, you look at it, at best, they're going to put out a midfield pairing of like Veretout and Pellegrini, let's say, or Diawara, who can't stay fit, or they have to play Gianluca Mancini as a defensive midfielder like they did against us, play him out of position. And it's like, it doesn't look great. You know, they've not really addressed the balance. I'll read out what Rohit put, because he also put Roma, but I like the way that he put it. Once a team that reached the Champions League semi-finals, the team has been dismantled by Pallotta and Monchi. An ambitious appointment in the form of Paulo Fonseca to play expansive football has not brought a change in fortunes at the capital club. Roma have many gaping holes, further widened by the unfortunate injury sustained by Nicola Zaniolo. They did sign Pedro on a free transfer from Chelsea and look set to sign Kumbula from Verona. But if Roma are a serious top 4 contender, I want to go far in the Europa League. They need more than what transfer activities happened so far.
Yeah, and they need to act smarter. I mean, Pedro is a solid player, but he's not that player who will take you to the next level. Neither. Yeah, I haven't rated him at all ever.
No.
And Mkhitaryan is not that player as well. I really rate Lorenzo Pellegrini, but it's that midfield balance. He can't.
They don't seem to know his best position. Like, his best position is probably attacking midfield, but that was obviously taken by Zaniolo when he was playing on the wing. He can't play midfield, and they don't play midfield 3. They play 4-2-3-1. So, like, where does he fit best? It's a difficult one. They didn't play it last season, and that's why they finished where they did. Well, they finished 5th, but they weren't anywhere near the top 4. So, I don't know.
And I don't see a stronger Roma now than last season.
Yeah, I don't think Milik will score as many goals as Dzeko, but I like it as kind of a long-term move. I don't think Dzeko was going to hang around for that long, but Milik might give him 3 years and he might get better. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Milik is a good scorer, but I don't think he's as good as Edin Dzeko.
I wouldn't have hated him as a backup to Ibra, for example, but that's his backup.
And as you say, he has a hard time staying fit.
Yeah. Top scorer. So listen, my heart wants to say Zlatan. Would be happy to be proven wrong on that, but I went with Ciro Immobile because, you know, guy's a beast.
Yeah, my heart wanted to say Zlatan, and so did my brain, so I said it.
Don't at me.
Don't
I like that.
Yeah.
I said Ciro Immobile.
Great, I mean, apparently we did have the chance to sign him at one point. I was gutted. The guy's.
But I don't know if
he would solve all our problems.
I think he was built for that system. We saw him fail at Dortmund. He was great at Torino and significantly
not good at Sevilla.
Exactly. Not good at Sevilla, really bad at Dortmund. I mean, he's just built for that one specific system.
A lot of Italian strikers, you know, when they go abroad, they don't really hack it. And that happened to be the case. But just a great player. I mean, I'd be all right, I think, up front if I had Joaquin Correa and Luis Alberto feeding me.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
And Milinkovic-Savic, of course. You know, just a brilliant spine of their team. Acerbi goes underrated. Under the radar. Luis Felipe as well. Great centre-half.
Yeah, and I tweeted about it yesterday. They signed Vedat Muriqi from Fenerbahce, and I think that would be a surprise signing because that's a really good striker who's definitely a better alternative than Felipe Caicedo.
Yeah, great rotation option for them. I was kind of buzzing when I heard that we were in for him as a backup to Ibrahimovic because they're not too dissimilar in style. But him and Immobile will basically be able to just slot in whenever because they're also very similar. Most assists, speaking of the devil, I went with Luis Alberto. I just watch him, I think this guy is absolutely mint. And because I've gone with Immobile as the top scorer, I figure those two will combine very well this season.
Yeah, I went with Brahim Diaz. Realistically, it's probably not going to happen. But, throw a little positivity out there. And I do think he's going to be...
basically towards the end of writing these, I think, didn't you?
Yeah. Definitely.
Brahim Diaz also, don't at me.
I saw Brahim Diaz and I was like, I'd be surprised if he starts 20 games this season.
Oh, I think he will. I think he's going to overtake Samu. It'll take, 5-10 games, but I think he's going to become our starting right wing. And I think he's going to do great. We saw him dribble. He's good on his feet, and he could cross the ball better than, most people on our team. So that's a big plus. And having a big guy like Zlatan up top who could actually get those balls out of the air, I think it's a match made in heaven. He might not be top assister, but how many goals or how many assists was top last season?
It wasn't actually that many for once. Let me quickly look it up.
Wait, what did you ask?
How many assists was the top assist?
Honestly, it was Papu Gomez.
16. Papu
Gomez.
It
was 16 for Papu Gomez. Luis Alberto was second with 15.
Yeah. I don't think it's if I'm saying Zlatan's getting 25 goals next season, I don't think it's unnatural to think that 10, 15 of them could come from Brahim Diaz crossing it in, and then a few more hitting Rebic or someone else.
I hope you're right, but then that leaves us having to negotiate a €50 million deal with Real Madrid. Maldini's going to have to get his checkbook out next year, man. It's going to be pretty bad. Loan with option. That's it. That's all of the things.
What about me?
Oh, yeah, what did you say? Oh, yes, this was the good one. This was the best pick of the
I picked with my heart as well. Dejan Kulusevski. He actually got 9 assists last year at Parma. And I think that Pirlo will play him in a bigger role than you expect at Juventus. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm a bit optimistic with this pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got like 12, 13 assists.
That might be enough this year. We don't know. I liked it because I saw the name and was like, yes, that's good. Because they're trying to get rid of Douglas Costa by the sound of things. Benedeschi just hasn't cut it since he's been there. I think he plays predominantly as a right winger, doesn't he, Kulusevski?
Yeah, that's his best position.
He's there. He's probably there. We'll see. The only problem is if he plays a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-1, then it's like, does he play him attacking mid? Maybe not. But
he's actually a natural attacking midfielder.
So it works. I like that pick. I kind of hope that's right. So where are we then? Market rumours. No closer to signing a midfielder. The Bakayoko thing's been going on for about 6 weeks now. I'd just be like, I know that we've been leaking stuff into the media about alternative targets to try and get Chelsea to drag the price down. I still think Bakayoko arrives. Maintain that stance from the start. Might wait until after Europa League. Might sell Krunic and then bring him in, for example. But yeah, I think Bakayoko arrives. The one that came up was Ibrahim Sangare. Budget option, because apparently it cost 10 mil from Toulouse, who got relegated into Ligue, what's 2 in French?
Uber Eats.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Uber Eats, yeah. And I think he'd be good because ultimately you got to remember we're signing a 4th choice midfielder. The first 3 midfield slots are sorted. Benacer, Kessier, Tonali. So can you really justify signing a player with a 30 mil option to buy who's going to be the 4th choice midfielder? Don't know.
No, not given the situation that it is.
Yeah, and Sangare is a very similar profile to Bakayoko as well.
Mm-hmm. Younger. I kind of like Florentino Luis for the same reason. It might be a cheaper sort of 20 mil option to buy. Samaris feels like one of those. If he arrived, I would be over the moon. Fantastic player, great prospect. We've got good relations with Lille. It could happen, but he'd be wasted as a 4th choice midfielder.
Yeah.
To go somewhere and start. I'd tell him not to. You know, the other one was, and this is coming from France and Italy, it was a guy called Basic who plays at Bordeaux. I don't know anything of him. I don't know much of him. Seems to have good defensive contribution, bit of a Krunic type player.
Yeah, he's a big player as well.
He's very tall.
Yeah, big
I
posture.
liked the links, and as a Liverpool fan, you have shed light on this. I liked the Marco Grujic links because I think he'd be a good fourth choice.
He's a good player.
Mm.
He had a disappointing season this year with Hertha Berlin, but the season before that, he ahead of this season he was predicted to be a key player for Hertha Berlin, due to his earlier
Talk
season.
about them buying him for like 30 million euros. You know, he'd done that well in his initial time there.
Yeah, the problem is that Klopp wants him now.
Yeah, I understand that as part of the rotation. Anyway, not spending too much time on midfield because I know that some of our listeners don't like that. Centre back, we're not really any closer, but the Milenkovic thing won't go away. Maxi, not really had a chance to ask you about this. What do you think about the idea of us signing Milenkovic? You know, what's the most that you'd pay? Is he the right guy?
I think that long term is a great alternative, and he's both good on the ball and he's a big defender. So he's kind of a hybrid of a how do you say, old school center back and a modern day center back.
He gets compared as like a modern Vidic.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Obviously, he's not he's not in the Vidic league right now, but he has great potential, and I think he's great on the ball, which I think is something that
Pioli will want.
Yeah,
they worked together as well. Like people forget, they were together for a couple of years at Fiorentina. I don't like 40 mil as a price tag. It's since come down to 30 mil in the papers today. He's rejecting a contract. He's not signing a new contract. He wants to join us apparently. Wouldn't be surprised if it gets done at like loan with option to buy it at 25, 30 mil, and then we're like happy days. Because think about the future. Basically, you've got to have two pairings for the competitions. Romagnoli, Kier will be fine for probably 2 or 3 more years. But then to have Gabbia, who I'd say is naturally a left-sided centre-back as Romagnoli's backup, and Milenkovic, who is right-footed, of course, to be Kier's backup is great, and either of those can step up when needed. Milenkovic can also play right-back, but I don't like the idea of tall centre-backs. Playing at right-back, it doesn't tend to work.
He's done good there, but I think he's kind of wasted there.
And how many more games do we have before we're qualified for Europa League? We got this
3.
one and 2 more. Okay, and both of those will be done before the window closes, correct?
So basically, we play tomorrow. We record on Wednesday the 16th. Tomorrow is our game on Thursday the 17th. Then the third qualifying round is on the 24th of September, and the playoff game. So to get into the groups would be the 1st of October, and then there'd be 4 days after that left of the transfer window. So
what's going to happen is we're going to secure Europa League, and that money's going to be used to buy either Chiesa or Milenkovic. That's just how it's going to go.
I think Milenkovic.
I think that's also the hold off on Bakayoko right now. I think that deal's much closer to being done and could be done prior to Europa League qualification, but that is what's the holdup is for the other players. And if we get both of them, it's going to be dependent on Paqueta going to Lyon or wherever. But that's just where it is.
We need to talk about that. That's heated up. Paqueta does seem to have a home. He was left out of the squad for the Shamrock Rovers game on technical grounds, and it's since come out that Lyon are pretty interested in buying him. They've got to sell Depay first, and they're probably selling Houssem Aouar as well. Or I might butcher that pronunciation. But they would then have the money. Juninho is their sporting director, obviously Brazilian. Knows him well, has tracked him since his days at Flamengo. Bit of a Leonardo type situation there, where I think he just wants the romance of bringing a Brazilian player to Lyon. He'll go there, 22, 23 mil. That might be enough to land us Milenkovic or Chiesa. And then you look at the Krunic money could get us Bakayoko. There's all sorts of potential, and then we probably have a bit of budget left already from the Suso sale and stuff like that. So it could be an exciting last 4 days. We have the Europa League money to add to the pot as well. They did say Milan News that it could be a frantic last 4 days. We're always looking for opportunities. That's been the buzzword.
I saw that sources in France said that we're expected to make a bid for Wesley Fofana.
Saw that. I would like that as an alternative to Milinkovic. Bit younger, bit more raw, but probably more accepting of that third, fourth choice centre back role at the moment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that too much. But in terms of other credible links, there's not an awful lot. So I'll end with a couple of questions. Christian Espinoza, do you think that one of Pobega, Daniel Maldini, Colombo, or Roback will get some consistent playing time with the first team this season?
Colombo. I think that's going to be our kind of go-to backup striker. I think we're taking a gamble by not signing a backup for Zlatan, but the club's confident in Colombo. And after his preseason performances, I am too. So I think that's going to be our guy, in Europa League Cup matches, maybe some rotation against lower league teams, gives Zlatan some rest because, as great as he is, he's still a 40-year-old man and he's going to need to take a nap every now and then. So that's where Colombo comes in.
Yeah, I think Colombo as well.
Piolo did a good interview with DAZN earlier today, or Dazn, whatever, saying that Colombo's good, DAZN, and but he says that Rebic and Leao can play centre forward, were basically his words. So I think if Ibra's injured, then Rebic or Leao plays up front still, over Colombo starting a game. Whether you think that's right or wrong, I think he just goes with his guys, the more experienced guys. I think we're going to see how the Deputy Ibra situation goes until January. Just sort of rock with what we've got.
Yeah,
I know. I see Colombo more as a player who gets subbed on, from the 70th minute and forward, and not someone who will start games, even if it's a cup game
But I think he gets the most minutes out of the names listed.
Yeah.
Quick one from Moat AZ. If Milan sign Milinkovic, Bakayoko, and Chiesa before the end of the window, do we have a chance at the Scudetto?
Yes.
We do.
I don't know if it's a big chance.
Yeah, of course we have a chance.
Yeah, it certainly helps our chances. I would say that. I also think
we're going to be competing. I think if we sign all of them by the end of the window, there's no doubt we secure Champions League. And I think right now we're going to be fighting for it with what we have now. If we get those three, it's guaranteed, and we might fight for the title. But I don't think we win the title.
I said a couple of weeks ago, people are saying, Chiesa overrated. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's overpriced. A few people have said that. I think you said that.
That was me, yeah.
But everyone's saying he wasn't great last season. 10 goals, 6 assists. Would have been our second top scorer. People need to just be
done very well with the national team as well.
If we had Chiesa last season, we'd have had Ibra who scored 10, Rebic who scored 11, Hakan who scored 10, and Chiesa who scored 10. Our front four would have combined for 40 goals last year. Can't really ask for much more than that. So I think it would help, but I don't think it would make us, guaranteed first. Another quick one, Daniel Ahmed. Would you rather keep Musacchio or Duarte?
I'll go with Musacchio simply because we've seen him start a lot more games. I think they're both at the end of their Milan tenure. I don't think they're good enough, but Duarte, well, they're both pretty injury prone. I've seen more of Musacchio to know. I think the team knows what type of mistakes he's going to make and are able to cover that more so than Duarte, who's played like 3 or 4 games and is still kind of a wild card. But neither of them are good.
Yeah, it's not great. But for people who say Duarte, I'd say show me the receipts. Basically, Musacchio has plenty of good games in his logbook at Milan. People forget that. It's maybe 25% of games where he's been bad. That's 3 out of 4 that are good. Duarte, people keep thinking about him like he's really young. He's not. He's like 24. I don't think loaning him back to Brazil does anything either. It's just a bandage over the wound. He goes back to his comfort zone. He really needs to develop. I'd like us to sell him, and that's no disrespect to him. I just don't think it's worked out. It's like another. Who was the guy? Who was the Brazilian centre? Rodrigo Eli.
Yep.
It just hadn't worked.
And Gustavo Gomez.
Yeah, exactly. God,
Gustavo
a Serginho kind of thing where we're like, all right, we'll take this guy, whatever. We don't really. Final question then comes from Assam Milan Lewis. If an offer of 40 million euros came in for Hakan, would you take the money, or would you still try and renew it?
Yeah, I don't want him to go. I like him, but 40 million, you could get a really good player for 40 million. It depends what we do with the 40, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we're at a point now, finally, to where we don't need to divide that 40 into 2 players or 3 players. You know, we could splash on one big name signing and improve ourselves in one position. I think we're solid enough everywhere now to where that would be more beneficial than more depth.
Mm-hmm. I think if his contract situation suggests that we'd never get anywhere near to that, because he's only got his contract runs until June 2021. But 40 million is a lot of money, regardless. And he's been good for like half a year out of his time here so far. So you take that money.
I disagree with that. I think he's been better.
Better than people give credit for, and he's been used in a lot of different roles. You know, he's used out on the wing. He's finally been put in his position, and he's excelled.
Yeah.
Want to see that next season. Do I think he's a 40 million euro player? Probably not. Not quite yet. And that's why I'd take the offer and I would send it straight to Lyon for Houssam, someone like that. You know, someone who could slot into that number 10 role and do the job. But yeah, that's it really, I guess. Been a pleasure, everyone. We'll have 2 games to review when we're back next week. So that should be fun. Hopefully 2 wins to recap. Otherwise, we're going to be very glum. But in the meantime, I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. You can follow me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher or at Kilpin Chronicle. Been joined by Anthony Torgrud.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Torgrud45. Thanks for joining us.
And Maxi.
Thank you for having me. You can find me on Twitter at Maxi Angelo, Maaxi Angelo.
Thank you very much, lads, and thank you for listening, everyone. We'll catch you in a week's time.
Andrea Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Ibra, Rebic, il tiro, gol!